welcome to the Artist Corner. My name is Levy, and tonight we're going to be taking a closer look at the Cold War project by J.D. Sell. So thank you, J.D., for coming in and agreeing to do this interview today.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
All right, would you like to get started?
Sure, let's get right into it.
Okay, so what I want to know first is what made you decide to focus on the Cold War?
Well, you see, Caleb, it's really an interesting sort of thing. What sort of started me on the whole idea of the Cold War itself. I initially started doing research on it about a year ago now, maybe a little bit more, and it was just this sheer fascination. It was a conglomerate of movies that I would watch, and even in classes up in Gunnison when I took classes up there at Western State, different historical facts. It really drew me to that, and I don't really know why. I wish I knew why, but I think that kind of engulfs the whole premise of why I started this work, is the wanting to know the unknown, the wanting to grasp what can't be grasped.
So was there any particular thing that happened or reason that just made you decide to do this piece in particular?
Well, the piece itself actually started with this bottom right corner right here. I had this idea of a child sitting in a chair surrounded by a bunch of toys, but holding a gun and looking out the window and seeing a bomb. And this came to me while I was in an art history class, and I don't really remember why. I probably wasn't paying attention. And it's a typical sort of thing that happens.
I totally understand.
Yeah. And I just kind of doodled it out, and that kind of stuck with me for a long time. And then I came down here to Colorado Springs and started taking classes. And I was influenced to do more research into it because I wanted to know why I was so drawn to this town. And yeah, that's kind of a discovery.
So what's the concept behind the entire piece?
The concept is the struggle that I see that a lot of people have with wanting to be in places that they cannot be in because it is not their time. So with that in mind, a movie that came to mind that influenced me greatly on that concept alone was Woody Allen's film Midnight in Paris. I watched that extensively, like over and over again. While I was up in Gunnison. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, dude, we'll have to watch it. It's so good.
So,
yeah.
It inspired you to do this?
Yeah, and like the basic premise of that movie engulfs the character of Owen Wilson. He is a writer who wishes that he lived in the 1920s and 30s during that time because he feels like that's where the best time to be for his writing was. And when he went to Paris, he decided to take a walk in the night, and he was drunk out of his mind, and he ended up stumbling through time and ended up in the 20s and 30s and got to talk with his most inspirational people like Hemingway and who else, the Fitzgeralds, and a bunch of other icons of that time.
And I wish we could all do that.
Yeah, right? Wouldn't that be so cool if you could just like get drunk one night and then like stumble into your favorite time era?
Of course.
That would be so cool.
Back to the 60s.
Yeah, but that was basically the whole sort of concept, is wanting to live in the time that you can. And towards the end of that movie, actually, it brings up the fact that the people who want to live in the past are not wanting to address and commit to the here and now. And that was like a realization that happened during that movie and that film that Owen Wilson's character had. And I connect with that a lot because through this piece that I've done, I've learned to accept the fact that no matter how much I wish and feel that I could be in that time, that I can only learn that time through historical evidence and facts and storytellings of different individuals that lived through that time. And I've found a little sense of peace with it actually doing this work because it has helped me kind of work through some of the struggles, not only with wanting to have memories that are not mine, but working through other struggles that I had in my life. So,
Well, that brings me to my next question.
Yeah.
What emotions or message are you trying to send to the viewers of your work?
well, when you look at the work, I want it to be confusing at first because it has kind of that like surrealistic quality to it and dreamlike state where everything is kind of slapped on and overlaid and in different time frames, and the timing of it is actually fragmented. And I did that purposely to have it kind of more like a memory or a dream.
Yeah, kind of pieced together.
Yeah, kind of pieced together. And with that concept, sorry, I forgot the question.
Oh, I was asking what emotions or like message
emotions.
you're trying to send.
Yes, definitely a confusion factor because for me this is a confusing subject. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And also kind of like a nostalgia sort of memory of like your emotion where you can look at it and experience different things not only in the Cold War but in your own life when you look back. And I really want it to be kind of like a reflective sort of piece of how you look at yourself and you kind of build yourself into what you are based on the things that you've been taught or that you've learned through experiences through your life. So,
Excellent. Well, I think that's all.
is that about it?
I think that.
Do you want to hear a little bit about how I incorporated the newsprint in there at all?
Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Well, do you want to hear about it?
Well, of course.
Do we have time?
I think we have time.
So the whole newsprint aspect of it was it's kind of to emphasize that historical fact for me, where when you look through it, you can see the history and the different like key points that I built this whole concept off of. And I think that for that it allows a lot of structure in the piece itself. And I find that very solidifying to reads because you can reference to the work itself opposed to having to go and like, oh, what was that? I remember seeing that somewhere. I'm going to go look it up at home. Opposed to just like, oh, look, there's a little piece on, like for example, the Berlin Wall. There's a little article that I put in there addressing the Berlin Wall and like the impact that it had. You kind of have to search for it. But, yeah.
So you actually found a way to incorporate the meaning into your work.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That answers the question.
The question that I've been kind of running around, walking around.
Very
I
political
don't
answer.
fully answer the question.
Well, JD, thank you for coming out and giving us a more in-depth explanation of this work. Myself and I'm sure all your viewers and fans will be glad to see this finally completed. And
I am as well.
I wish you the best of luck in the future. Looks like you've got a lot ahead of you.
Well, thank you. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
coming out and doing this interview.
Of course.
All right.
It's been a pleasure, Caleb.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.